Bexar County Planning Commission to order. We're now going to public hearing. No, sorry, we're gonna do the pledge first.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm gonna turn it over to Robert. Do you wanna wait a minute and get things going?
Yeah, let her check this real quick and see what's going on.
No problem.
No, says no signal.
Let's
Cable converters that press something.
Oh, there we go.
all right.
Bingo.
Before I get into the election of the officers, Chariot is my new assistant.
Nice to
Nice to meet you.
She told me she's not going nowhere, so I'm gonna hold her to it.
Okay,
I told him I'm like a bad penny. I'll constantly turn up.
all right.
You can't get rid of me.
Okay, the first thing we got on the agenda is the election of officers. At this time, I will open the floor for nomination of chairman.
I nominate Cal Crump.
Are there any more nominations? If not, nomination closed. All those in favor of Mr. Crump say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The floor is now open for vice chairman.
Appreciate you asking.
I nominate Mark Warren.
Are there any more nominations for vice chair? If not, nomination now closed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you, David.
The floor is now open for nomination for secretary.
Nominate Mr. Raymond.
Are there any more nominations for secretary? If not, the floor is now closed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Crump, it's your meeting.
All right, we're now going to public hearing. Let's try this again. All right, first item on our agenda tonight is application by Eric Middleton for a special exception permit to allow for a hair salon. This property is zoned agriculture, is located on the east side of Highway 723, Shining Rock Road, approximately 2/10 of a mile east, south of its intersection with Highway 724, Lewis Mill. This is in Electric District 1. Is there anyone here to speak for this application? Anyone here to speak against this application? Did we have any calls or letters?
No, sir.
No calls, no letters. Any discussion, gentlemen?
It's a Clarksville district.
Yes, it's in Clarksville.
I'll make a motion, we accept the application.
Motion's been made to
I'll
accept-
second.
and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Mr. Chair, is it necessary to read the recommendation for approval?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to read
Yeah,
that?
I'll read them. Recommendation for approval is the county has approved these types of neighborhood businesses in the past with approval of a special exception permit. It will not be detrimental to the public welfare. It will not affect adversely the health or safety of persons or the neighborhood of the proposed use.
All right, next item on our agenda tonight is application by 2W LLC to rezone from business B1 to residential R1. This is to allow for 10 apartment buildings, 1 clubhouse, and 1 maintenance building, and a community center. This property is zoned business B1, is located on the south side of Highway 92, approximately 200 feet east of its intersection with Highway 600. This is in Electric District 8. Anyone here to speak for this application? Please come forward and state your name, sir.
Evening, my name is Gerald Hooten. I'm with B&B Consultants. I'm here representing Kess Realty Partners, Mr. Sanjay Mittal. And speaking for the property, the subject property with property record number 27755. And this, for the rezoning, it's from Business District B1 to Residential District R2. Since I'm with B&B, I actually put the application together.
Is it R2 or R1?
R2,
R2.
did I say all of them?
Yeah, it's going from business to R2.
Okay,
I mean-
you got R1 on here.
Should be R2.
Yeah, it's R2.
All right, sorry, just clearing.
Should be R2.
Understood?
Yeah.
The proposed use, as you already stated, was for an apartment complex. The parent parcel contains roughly 60.5 acres. The rezoned portion of the property will be 47 plus or minus acres. Ultimate use is going to be 10 apartment complexes. Each apartment building will have 64 units planned right now. That's 640 units total. The target apartment mix at this time tentatively is 80% two-bedroom, 10% one-bedroom, and 10% three-bedroom apartments.
Would you mind speaking to the microphone? I must be a little deaf.
So, no, I am not speaking into it. You want me to go back any?
No,
No.
Okay. This type of development is typically phased, and so the initial phase of it, developers considering, one or two apartments up front, along with any supporting amenities. The tentative planned amenities proposed for this is a residential community, kind of like a clubhouse apartment mix, apartment center, or a clubhouse center, dog park, trails, and equipment centers for children as well. Presently, the Kess Realty Partners, they've actually surveyed and topoed the entire property to begin the construction plan process. Just kind of make sure we know what's out there. They've also hired a wetlands consultant to delineate any wetlands or streams on the property to minimize environmental impacts. That's all done through the construction process and to adhere to the current environmental regulations through DEQ. The layout that you have in front of you is conceptual. Some portions of it are going to change, just minor things, maybe shifting here and there based on the existing topography and the environmental features that we've just surveyed in. But overall, it'll basically stay the same. The layout also shows stormwater features for stormwater management. Those will be planned in the development in the initial phase throughout the entire thing. And the amenities that are shown, they'll be in the general locations, but they're opt to change as well. Other than that, that's what we have. If you need to see a larger plan of it, we do have it over here on this side if you want to see it. Anybody have questions? Go ahead.
I got a question. I kept looking at this map, and I still can't pinpoint exactly where it is.
the co-op is here, this property is here. If you're going out of Chase City, the property is just before you get to the co-op,
Okay.
on the left-hand side. It's
Yes, that's
nice.
correct.
T&J Tractor.
T&J tractor,
Oh,
after you pass that.
Motel,
right there.
it comes all the way up to where the motel is.
Yes, sir. And I think it used to be the old theater, drive-in theater as well.
Right,
Yes.
all of that whole.
And it will go all the way to Mecklenburg Electric.
Yes, it will. It butts right up against it. That's
Okay,
correct.
I got you now.
But there are setbacks required for R2, so we're going to be off those, and they'll have some kind
See,
of
the
buffer. as well.
co-op is,
Right, well, it shows
right here.
co-op property,
Right.
I saw that. but
yeah,
I
their
wondered-
building actually sits in here somewhere, the co-op building.
Are each of your buildings just the one story, or is it going to be two-story apartments?
Tentatively, right now, they're planning for two-story
Okay.
buildings, yes.
Will house how many people when fully occupied?
How many people? I can tell you 640 units. I don't, there'll be a mix of the breakdown we have thus far is going to be 80% two-bedroom units, 10% one, and 10% three-bedroom units. So, around the 640, two, you got at least 1,200.
640.
10 apartments would be full development, though.
What was the total count again?
640 total
640.
units. That's 10 apartments, full development. The initial build-out is going to be 1 or 2 buildings at first, maybe 3.
So this will be a progressive project then?
That's correct. They're typically done in phases anyway because, you build one building, you see your occupancy rate, and then you build another one and go from there. That way you don't stretch yourself out too much.
That tan and water tank.
Yeah, the
sewer
water,
hall.
that's correct. Water's on the opposite side of the main, 94, is it 94?
92.
92, sorry. Highway 92, it's on the opposite side.
And you said in your beginning that you were representative B and B.
I am the civil engineer with B&B Consultants, that's correct.
Who is 2W?
They are the current owners of the property.
Have they have other structures such as this, other apartment type deals? It's just that first one, last one,
So I am representing, I'm with B&B, I'm representing Kess Realty Partners, and they are purchasing the property from them, from 2W. So 2W currently, they own the property, but Kess Realty is going to develop it.
This company here owns it, and then
Right.
they're gonna sell it to the other company, and they're gonna develop it.
That's
And that,
correct.
and that company's out of Henrico, correct?
Yes, that's where Mr. Mattel's address is
so
from.
they have
Yes.
other apartment type situations then?
Now that I don't, let me see,
Oh.
I can ask that, he's right here on the computer. I can ask.
Well, that's not necessary, but I was just curious. That's what killed the cat.
They've done development in Henrico, right?
I don't know that answer.
These be rental apartments.
That's correct.
Any other discussion?
Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And, did we have any kind of calls, any kind of?
I had
letters?
nothing.
Nothing?
No emails, no phone calls, and no letters.
Oh, my. All right, well, this is in the Chase City area?
Who's the rep for Chase City?
I'm 7.
What district is it?
District 8.
District 8, this is.
Shoot, I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve the application for the following reasons. The rezoning will afford an opportunity for more residential rental properties. It will not be detrimental to the public welfare. It will not affect adversely the health or safety of persons of the neighborhood for the purposed use.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. We're now going to close public hearing. Robert, whenever you're ready on the minutes for December the 30th.
I'm ready.
All right. Is there a motion we approve the minutes for December the 30th?
Make a motion, we approve the December 30th, 2021 minutes.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to discuss Article 20 on the comprehensive amendment. Oh, you want to go over that first?
Let's go and
Okay.
get this out the way.
Building permit.
Everybody's should have a copy of the zoning permits and the building permits for December and January.
Yes, sir.
December was up. January, I was down by 3, although erosion and sediment controls are up. And you see fees collected by for the January 2022. The large majority of that is some large expenses on E&S permits, some of the Lego projects. And everybody should have a copy of the building permits. Any questions on those? Things are still going pretty strong, so now we can discuss the amendments to Article 20. Most of this was pretty much copied directly out of the comp plan, although I did do a little research on community scale solar, got a definition for that. That would be going into the definitions to describe what that is. The one other thing that I did pick up in doing some research is about the location within our airports. We did, that wasn't even in from the original consulting group.
Okay.
So I added that. Then the small scale solar facility, we didn't have anything to really clarify what that was, breakdown on that. So I added that. And then the other thing that was added in there, that was brought out was that we needed to include utility scale, small scale, and community scale, so they can't go beside each other. But an example would be if you got a large scale here, somebody want to come in with a small scale, actually in reality, the way that it was set up, they could go right beside it because we didn't specify small scale versus large scale.
I see.
So that's in there now to cover all of those. And then the other thing that needs to go into the comp plan was the small scale solar facility, because we didn't have that in that, and the community scale solar facilities. So that will be added to the comprehensive plan. And I know I sent y'all a bunch of information from somebody. That's basically almost like a complete rewrite of the Article 20.
Right.
I think what we have,
I think
by
what we
adding
did-
this,
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be in pretty good shape.
Yes, sir.
I have reviewed it, and I would like to make some comments.
Go ahead.
First off, when we look, if you look at the first page that we've got, where it says 20.12 small scale solar facility, and then you look at 20.13 community scale solar facility, they read exactly the same, with community scale talking about small scale solar facilities. And I don't know if that's a misprint, and it should say community scale like number 2. If it should say community scale facility occurs, a number 3 does have community scale, but then it brings back up the difference in the 2 miles. I'm concerned about the 2-mile limit of small scale solar facilities. I guess I'm jumping back up to 20.12. If a small scale solar facility, in my understanding, I just want to make sure I understand the difference, but small scale solar facilities is just if I wanted to have my own solar on my home. What is the definition? What is the definition?
The definition of the small scale solar facility is 5 megawatts or less
Okay.
that's going on a transmission line, or it's gonna go onto the grid to be resold. The small scale solar, the residential solar is exempt from comp plan review and special exception. Also, if you have a industrial facility that wants to do solar for their business or their operation on site, that falls under the small scale solar facility of 1 acre or less.
Okay, so I went through all of the stuff and I was trying to piecemeal it. Like, so we've got individual solar, small solar, medium solar, community solar, and utility solar. So we've got all 5 of those, and I think they ought to be in order, and I think we ought to explain exactly what they are. And I did not read anything on the individual solar in our solar ordinance. That's why I was confused as to the
It's
smaller.
in there.
It is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this other that we've got, I did have some of the things that the person who helped us with some of the other ideas, one of the things they mentioned was being, getting FAA approval if it was within a mile. I think that is an excellent idea, and I think we ought to incorporate that,
It's in there.
Yeah, oh, that's gonna be in this part.
Number 4.
okay? Number 4.
Right. On the utility small scale and community scale, it's number 4. They have to have a letter from FAA approval.
Okay, I like that idea. I think that's a necessary thing. All right, so back to the small-scale solar facilities, just so I understand, it is just,
5 megawatts or less. It goes onto the grid or transmission line.
okay, so on number 2, under small-scale solar facility, it says it will be no more than 50 acres. So a small-scale solar facility can be less than 2 acres, but it can be no more than 50 acres?
Most of them is gonna come in on your small scale, that's gonna wanna go on to the grid or transmission line, it's gonna be 5 megawatts or less. But they're going, the difference between that and the individual small scale for your industrial is this goes on the grid, theirs go to that building. It supplies that structure.
So now you just brought up industrial for the small scale. I was under the impression that you became a medium scale if it was industrial or commercial.
If you're using, if you've got a business or you have an industrial business, manufacturing, you want to put solar on your property, it falls under the small scale and it's no more than an acre. The small scale utility stuff is, it's 5 megawatts or less that goes onto the grid or the transmission line. Individual homes are exempt from the special exception permit. They're exempt from the 2232 review. Most of those are not gonna be any more than 15, 16 panels at the most.
That's the most I've ever seen.
A small scale?
Well, no,
For
residential.
individual.
Residential.
And see, that, the individual residential is exempt altogether.
And I understand that part of it. I guess I'm just getting confused when we have small scale that can be less than 2 acres and then we say it can be no more than 50 acres. That's confusing to me, and I have studied over this for just the normal person trying to do this.
See,
I mean, does everybody else understand all this? I mean, it just,
Well, I think what it's basically saying is you can't have any more than 50 acres.
right.
so why are we saying, but it should be 2 acres or less? If we're also saying it's 50 acres or less, we're confusing the whole picture there.
2 acres.
Yeah, okay, let me see where that is. Small scale.
Oh, you're looking at someone else's.
This is our ordinance. It was marked up, so I'm just gonna
Yeah.
look at it and not look at what was marked up.
Okay.
So a small scale solar facility is 15 kilowatts or less. Okay, but the solar facility, small scale, the way we've got it written, goes on the grid?
Yes, this does. Now, the part you're getting confused on, I think, is the small scale for the individual businesses and industrial use, which is an acre. That's
So there's a
classified.
small scale business and there's a small scale.
And it's broken out in the section with the businesses that's going on site for their business, a small scale, 1 acre, a max of 1 acre.
Okay, that might be where I'm getting confused. So we have 2 different small scales. We've got residential, and then we've got small scale residential and small scale business.
Correct. But the residential is not really gonna, it's small scale, but it's not classified as small scale because they're not gonna do an acre of solar panels to do their house. So that's why they are completely exempt from 2232. So is, so is the ones for your industrial and your businesses that's putting it on their property to service their needs and nobody else's need. That is limited to an acre under the small scale for individual industrial and business use.
Would it be somebody like Microsoft or?
If Microsoft wanted to come put on their property for one of their buildings, they're limited to an acre.
Right.
Because it's going on site to service that building. It's not going on the grid to be sold to whoever, to whatever. Whereas the small scale solar facility of the 15 kilowatts or less is going on the grid or the transmission line. Just
So
like,
Microsoft couldn't go up here and buy 1,000 acres, put up a 500-acre project and all that, and then put 500 acres of solar farm right beside it. They can't do that.
if they go through the process, yeah.
They could do that.
But they're exempt for the 1 acre to go on their site, on their building or on their property to service their building. They're exempt from that.
In other words, if they want to have more than 1 acre.
If they want to
would
have more than
come-
1 acre,
would
they
have
got to
do
go through the
a
process
large
just like
scale.
anybody else.
Yeah, or small scale.
Yep. The only one they would be exempt from is the 1 acre that's on their property that building is on. If they got the property here and they got 3 acres over here that's not part of this tract, they can't do it because it's, unless they combine it together. But if it stands as a separate tract, then they can't do the exempt 1 acre.
Okay, so, to clarify, the community scale solar facility, number 2. It says the area within which all construction, material storage, excuse me, grading and related activities for the small scale facility occurs. Shouldn't that say for the community scale facility occurs? Since we are talking about the community scale at this point, with no more than a total of 50 acres?
Yeah, I can add community in there, it's no problem.
No, not add it, is it, small scale needs to be up in the small scale part, community scale needs to be in the community scale part.
Right.
Am I reading it wrong?
No, that's right. Just need to change it out. Instead of saying small there, it just needs to say community.
Mm-hmm.
Thank y'all. I just had a lot of questions. It's hard for, I'm having a hard time separating the way it's not written simple. And it's not easy to understand, and after I read it several times, I just want to be very clear on what I'm reading.
Absolutely.
So we don't make,
Small scale.
we don't make a mistake. I went through and I mentioned this to Robert, that the 1 mile that we were discussing, not the 1 mile limit, let's see, 1 mile from town boundary, where we've discussed that. In our amendments, it says, the solar facilities, Article 20 solar facilities dated November 6, 2017 was adopted. The very next thing it says, deleted from Article 20 solar facilities, where we talk about 1 mile limits. We took it out, and now we want to put it back in.
Yeah, because they took that out of the Article 20 and put it into the comp plan. Because if it had stayed in Article 20, then it would have been law, where in the comp plan, you had leeway to work with it. So,
That's what we're doing there, is making it law.
We're making
We-
it law
We
now.
talked about it, discussed it, and I think the board probably decided they wanted to take that out and make it just a suggestion. But we want it to be back law.
and the only thing that was changed on that, I think it said any growth boundary. Growth boundary was taken out and just said town boundary.
Right.
Just so we understand, someone voted to take it out, and now we are voting to put it back in.
Right. Well, it wasn't just that either. It was several things, wasn't it?
It was, I can't remember everything, but it was a
Right.
few things that was in the Article 20 that they wanted to take out and put it in the comp plan. So you had some leeway. Now, what was taken out wants to go back into the Article 20 to make it law.
And I think the reason that was happening when we were first starting, we weren't getting applications and all at that time. And now we see it's kind of getting a little handsy and a little crazy, I ring now, that just saying that that's what we want. We do want that 1 mile from town,
And
2 miles apart.
And the other thing that was taken out was brownfields, only on brownfields. That was taken out too.
Brownfield pretty much limits it. There's not many
Yeah,
brownfield.
Yeah. I think it was three areas.
I don't have that got in there.
Robert, are you keeping up with what's going through the General Assembly now about the solar, I mean, about what they're talking about, the studies they're talking about doing on the prime land and, the wildlife, what it's doing and the studies they want to do. I don't know whether that's.
I've heard a little bit
moving along,
about,
But I didn't know if it had, I think it maybe come up to vote in the Senate this week, I think.
I've heard bits and pieces about it, but I'm not following. I don't even know what bill it is.
Right.
I don't even know.
I think every county, we started out with something, but I think every county now is running into these more problems and stuff and want it more looked at, and even it's starting to hit at the General Assembly, where at first they were pushing it all out and wanted to require it, the governors and stuff wanted to have it, but I think they're seeing this causing more problems and stuff in communities and stuff like that, so I think it's gotten back up to the General Assembly and everything now.
I have
A
another.
large number of
I have
acres
something
was
else I
taken
would
out of
like to say.
production. Sure. In the last year for development.
Back at the very top, when we are trying to define our community scale solar, and I'm just getting nitpicky here, but at the very end of it, we say community solar system, and on all of the other definitions, we've called it a facility, a solar facility. Is it a solar system or a solar facility? And should that word be,
We can make it, I mean, that's not,
is there a difference?
not really.
We would just change it all to facility.
just
to be
wording.
consistent.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, and when I was reading through, everything else said
Yeah, we
facility.
can just change system there to facility.
Yep, no problem.
Consistency is good. It helps cover us.
Do we see anything else? All right, what is the next step now, Rob, on this?
If everybody is comfortable with this, make a motion to take it to public hearing next month.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. I make that
Motion's
motion.
been made to
I'll say.
bring it to vote, and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
We've got some things coming down the pipeline, some questions about some special exception permits and, I think a rezone maybe, I'm not sure, but I know I got one thing. And I've got one thing that's not, is in reference to a sign, up at Sandy Fork. It's Lewis Metal Works. He's got that big billboard sign. From my understanding, talking to him, the store that's there on the corner that used to be a service station or something, they were selling mulch. He has one on that site
Right.
that is being sold or has been sold, and those people no longer want it there. But where the greenhouses are, like that Cal Road that Greg Gordon owns, he still has a pedestal there that at one time he did have a billboard sign, but the wind took it down. And he didn't put it back up because he didn't have any customers on it. And he was inquiring how y'all would feel if he took the sign that he had there and moved it across the road to that location.
Is he gonna have to reapply to do that, or how does that?
No, he wouldn't have to, he would just have to get his permits to relocate it.
Okay,
Personally, I think it would look better over there because you got one sign here, you got his sign,
Right.
and you got another sign that's
Right.
on the other side of the road. It would break that up.
okay,
And you still have active contracts on the billboard.
okay.
But he wanted to get y'all's,
Still his property.
Hmm?
Still his property. It's
Yeah.
all his property.
I don't see that
We
being a
can't,
problem.
I can't see where it'd be a problem.
okay?
Because I dislike signs.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Other than that, I think that's it.
Okay.
Just, I'm gonna ask you a question. Where else is Microsoft building, structures? Are they starting anything in La Crosse or
Yes.
South Hill?
La Crosse and South Hill both have started.
They got the
Yeah.
biggest equipment I've ever seen in lacrosse. I mean, it's some monster stuff you've never seen in this area. Well, I've never seen it. It's some big
They
stuff.
have leased,
Tacos, or
they have
Yeah,
leased
all
two of
they
the
got some
warehouses
monster
of
stuff.
Hot Hudson also.
So, and it's steadily coming.
Well, if any of y'all hadn't ridden down Herbert Drive, where the old prison was, else go down 58 and take a left on Ridge Road right through there.
Unreal.
It is actually unbelievable. The Roanoke River